المصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Taha, some ma'arif of the ayat that we did yesterday. First off, the hadith that was mentioned last night, which is that if somebody prays without concentration, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws back their salah at their face like a piece of worn out clothing. So we should understand that one thing is fulfillment of farz. If somebody does not fulfill the farz that has been placed upon them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the punishment is hellfire. And if somebody does it but does not do it properly, without concentration, without full focus, then at least the farz is taken care of. Of course, it's not the best way to do it, but still, nobody should think that if I am not able to concentrate in my salah, then what's the point of my salah if it's going to be thrown back in my face? No. Allah is going to protect us from hellfire. If we do not fulfill the farz at all, the punishment is hellfire. So therefore, we should keep trying our best to maintain our focus, and inshallah, when we keep trying, Allah will also reward us for that effort to maintain focus as well. The other thing that should be mentioned, that I was trying to mention yesterday but it slipped my mind, is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that worship Allah alone and establish salah, iqamatis salah, and iqamatis salah for the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these three things are necessary to be successful. And these three things also ensure that a person does not fall in the trap of the disbelievers, which is to make the believers forget about the hereafter. So these three things, one should keep checking that, am I doing those three things? First, worshipping Allah alone with sincerity of intention, then doing all acts of worship. Aqim as-salah means establishing salah with all its mustahibbat. Mustahibbat, all the prerequisites, all the etiquettes, all of those things that are related to salah, one takes care of all of those things. When Allah commands us to come to the masjid, we come to the masjid. When the way the Prophet ﷺ has told us to do wudu, we do wudu. If we need to do ghusl, we do ghusl. Then when we start the salah, we take care of every tiny detail as much as possible to do it according to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This is iqamat as-salah, and being concerned about our salah and doing remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are, after having perfect faith in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cleansing oneself from shirk, these are the two things that guarantee one's success, which is kasrat-e zikr and dawam-e ta'at. Constantly worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doing the acts of worship, listening to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frequently, excessively. The last thing that should be mentioned is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says aqim as-salata li dhikri, establish salah for my remembrance, some factions, some groups that have gone astray, they have said that when zikr is the original intent, then we should only make zikr, because the purpose of salah is also zikr. So remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the real deal, so we should only do remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the purpose of salah is ultimately also to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But how hollow is this, that Allah is saying one thing and we are saying the other thing right from that ayah. Allah is saying establish salah for my remembrance, and we are saying that we are going to remember Allah through any other way. When Allah is saying, Allah is bringing salah first and then dhikr. Aqim as-salata li dhikri. How could we forget and miss this part, that Allah, this big clear command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, aqim as-salah, establish salah for my zikr. So Allah is telling us the way of doing zikr. The best and the highest and the foremost way of zikr is fulfilling the farz ibadah as has been prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yes, zikr, remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is very important, and one should constantly remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salah is the best way to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when the time for first salah is. So it is not that we'll not pray and just do zikr at that time. This is totally against the Quran. Now moving on, we had read last night that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave two mu'jizat, two miracles to Hazrat Musa ala nabina salatu wasalam. One was that he would put down his staff and it would become into a big and fast moving snake, and the second that he would press his hand under his arm and it will come out without any pain and any sickness, shining bright. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to go to Fir'aun. Fir'aun has really exceeded all limits. So now Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Qala Rabbi shrah li sadri. So we should understand that when a responsibility is placed, a human being feels the burden of that responsibility. But the prophetic teaching is that when the responsibility is placed, rather than running away from that responsibility, we should ask Allah for help in that responsibility. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is what all the Anbiya did, that they did not say that, Ya Allah, we do not want to become prophets, Ya Allah, we cannot do this, choose someone else. But no, they asked Allah for help to enable them to fulfill that responsibility, and that is what Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam also did. Rabbi, O my Lord, ishrah li sadri, open up my chest, expand my chest. What is this sharh? The Sahaba asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The basic meaning of sharh is that the ulum, the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and deen, one's personality, one's chest becomes wide enough to take it. And also when they are going to call people towards oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people will taunt them, people will humiliate them, people will oppose them, and you need some forbearance in your personality to be able to face all of that. So this is what Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is asking by saying, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri, and Ya Allah, make my task easy for me. And from this we understand that whatever we are doing, the reality is that whatever becomes easy or hard, all hardship and all ease is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why our beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has taught us this dua, that ask Allah for ease in all of those things. Allahumma altuf bi fi taysira kulli asir fa inna taysira kulli asirin alayka yasir. Ya Allah, to make everything that is hard, to make that thing easy is easy for you. So Ya Allah, make everything easy for me. Wahlul uqdatam min lisani. This is the last ayat that we are going to explain today, inshallah. Had Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. These two ayat. Had Musa alayhi salam also asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, remove the knot from my tongue. So the background of this is that Had Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he was born in Bani Israel, and at that time Fir'aun, he had been foretold by his magicians and those foretellers that there's going to be a child that is going to be born in Bani Israel, and he's going to finish you off. So Fir'aun was killing all of the male children that were being born in Bani Israel. As Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did so that his wife, Fir'aun's wife, Hazrat Asiya, she really loved this child and convinced Fir'aun, persuaded Fir'aun to take care of this child, and then they wanted to do his upbringing in their own castle, in their own house. But Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam would not take the milk from anyone. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it such that the sister of Hazrat Musa went to the court of Fir'aun and said that, I will tell you somebody who can feed him. And she told him about the mother, but did not tell him that this is the real mother. And then this woman that Fir'aun did not know was appointed to take care of the feeding of Hazrat Musa. When Hazrat Musa grew up, one day he was in the lap of Fir'aun and he pulled at his beard and slapped him hard. So Fir'aun became really angry. In another narration it is written that Hazrat Musa was playing with a stick and then took that same stick and smacked Fir'aun on the head with that stick. So Fir'aun became really angry and he started saying that this is my enemy. So Hazrat Asiya, may Allah bless her, she said that this is a small child, what is up with you? The small child does not know what he's doing, so we'll do a test. And she brought two bowls, one with bright shining ember, pieces of fire, and the other with jewels. So when you look at those, although jewels are more valuable, ember appears more shiny. And generally, what is the habit of a kid which does not have a lot of sense, that it will pick up a ember and put it in their mouth. Hazrat Musa, he was going to be the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He extended his hand towards the jewels, but Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam came and put his hand in the ember, and he put an ember and put it in his mouth. And that is how his speech became a little faulty. When he would speak, and this is mentioned later on as well, that Fir'aun taunted Hazrat Musa that you can't even speak properly, you can't even say something clearly. So this was this is where it started. So when he was given nubuwah, he said, "Wahlul uqdatam min lisani," Ya Allah, take this knot away from my tongue, yafqahu qawli. But he also placed a condition, because he in his mind he had the nubuwwat at that time, that Ya Allah, I'm going to fulfill this purpose, I'm going to call people, so they should at least be able to understand what I'm saying. So he said, yafqahu qawli, Ya Allah, take the knot away so that they may understand what I'm saying. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did, as is said. But the Prophet ﷺ has said that Allah, more or less meaning, Allah bless my brother Musa, if he had only said that Ya Allah, take the knot away, Allah would have taken it completely away. But he placed a condition himself, that only as much as people can understand me. So the knot was still there, his speech was still faulty, but people were at least able to understand him. So anyway, this is the background of this ayah. Inshallah, we'll complete this request of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. We'll read about it inshallah more tomorrow. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.